Hey, giddy up, Start Crew, and we are live on our Start Talk series. And I'm coming from the brand new headquarters this evening, live in Arizona, Gilbert. And we have just had all of our associates here for our Welcome Home Challenge, and they have been here for the official ribbon cutting opening and the ceremony. They've been checking the place out, so it's been such an awesome day. So thank you for everybody for tuning in tonight or this morning, wherever you are around the world, if you're in Australia or New Zealand. So good morning, good afternoon to you. And it's my pleasure to welcome you to our second Start Talk series. Now, we kicked things off last month with the beautiful Emily and Hayden Vavra, and we really talked about, finding people to talk to, and we talked about offline and online. So today's session is all about connecting with people. So how do you connect with them? Find them. So I have the pleasure to welcome a great friend of mine. I mean, she's calling in from the East Coast of the United States tonight, from New Jersey. And I mean, her journey is just phenomenal with Isogenics. I mean, she was introduced to Isogenics by a great friend, Tara Romano, who is now an Isogenics millionaire. And they used to work the bars in New Jersey together, so they were co-workers once upon a time. And this young lady, she was working the bars, and she decided that she wanted to go back to school to get her degree. And she was thinking, how can I kind of keep my all that kind of stuff. So 2 years into it, she was a product user, but then she wanted to do her post degree and her graduate degree, and she decided to then take a look at the business, and she went on to an ISA uni, and that's where she really saw the potential of this opportunity. And really, the rest is history. I mean, she's gone on to build an absolutely astonishing business with Isogenics. She's a star ambassador. She's an Isogenics millionaire. She is 9-star platinum, 2-star executive. Please welcome to the call, Ciji Siddons.
Oh, Steve, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so excited to be sharing this with you.
Well, thank you for joining us. I mean, gosh, we have got an epic call lined up, so we'll get right into it. So thanks for jumping on. So I might actually start with kind of just going over a little bit about kind of what Emily and Hayden touched on last time, and that's finding people to talk to. So where are some of the great places, Ciji, that you kind of find people to talk to when you're not online on Facebook or whatever, when you're connecting with people in the gym, or people that you meet out in New York or whatever? Where are some of those great places you find them?
This is such a great question, and I want to even preface it by saying, like, before Isogenics, I really still am, very introverted. I'm not the most outgoing person. So my former self, when I would think about these places that I would have to go and talk to people, the very first thing I ever said in an Isogenics event was, this sounds cool, but I don't want to have to talk to people. And because I really wanted this to work, I was willing to get out of my comfort zone and really go through so many of the ways that Hayden and Emily talked about. And now I've really learned that it's become a natural extension of what I do, and everywhere we go, there are people to talk to. So, of course, friends, family, asking for referrals. I asked everyone for referrals. My brother took about 2 years to join me in the business. I enrolled all of his friends because I was constantly out there saying, who do you know? Who do you know that I can talk to? I appreciate that this isn't for you right now, but I'm really serious about what I'm doing, and I'm really excited. And I know that you know people. So referrals was huge for me. Anyone that I do business with. So I love getting my hair done. I make a lot of hair appointments. Everyone in the salon I've put on Isogenics, because I feel like if I'm going there and spending my money there consistently, they deserve to at least listen to what I have to offer. So anyone that you're really paying on a consistent basis, whether hair salon, nails, massage, your accountant, all of those people I talk to. People at the gym, because you go see the same people every day. I know Emily said it when she did the call. You go to the same class every week. You really start to build those relationships. Meetup groups and networking events were something I did a lot of, and very, very uncomfortable for me. Everything probably about this business is outside of my comfort zone. But I went there and I talked to people and I built relationships. So it's everywhere you go. There are people I was just getting my car serviced, and I'm so not a car person. Nothing about it excites me. But I connected with the guy that was helping me go through the whole process. And whether or not he's going to do isogenics, I don't really know. But it was just someone that I had the opportunity to talk to and connect with and see if it was someone that I genuinely liked and genuinely would even want to get to know further. Because even though we meet people, I think, everywhere, not everyone is a fit for what we're doing, and not everyone is someone we want to partner with. So yeah, I truly believe you can meet people everywhere as long as you're intentional about it.
Yeah. So when somebody, one of the objections that I hear often is, oh my gosh, Steve, I just don't know anybody. Gosh, that's so not true. So I mean, gosh, as you say, there are absolutely people everywhere that we can connect with. And I love that you talked about kind of the referral process and how you kind of enrolled all your brother's mates before he kind of got in there. I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's people everywhere. I was one of those people who said, like, I ran out of people to talk to. I made my list of 19 people and I ran through them and I was like, well, I've talked to everyone now. And one of the things Alexis Romano said is you never run out of your warm market because you're always expanding it. You're always creating new relationships and building up your warm market. So understanding that, I think, was really powerful for me to understand that it's impossible. It's absolutely impossible to run out of people to talk to.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't mind, Ciji, I'd just love to tap into that referral process a minute. So if somebody kind of says to you, look, Ciji, like, I'm happy to kind of refer people to you, how do you kind of make that connection?
I say, great, thank you. And then I always ask for their contact information, whether it's their phone number or their Facebook, because it's like a business card. I can give out a business card 99% of the time, someone's not going to call me. But if I'm in control of how that's going to go and I can reach out to that person, I think it's a lot more powerful. And it sets a different tone that I'm really serious about what I'm doing here and I'm passionate about it and I'm going to take control of it. So I always ask for, usually a lot of the time they're Facebook, because I always want to connect with people there just so they can get a little bit of a feel for it. They can get a feel for me if they don't know me. And I always take that step in being the one to reach out. I don't just wait for people to come to me.
And let's reverse that for a second. How do you kind of go to somebody and they say, look, this isn't for me, but then you ask them, okay, would you be all right if you give me referrals? How do you kind of sew that into the piece?
Yeah, so it's always, I think, relative to the person, and I'm not someone that has a cookie cutter script for anything, but it's just really like, Steve, I totally get that you're not interested and you don't feel like this is for you right now. I totally appreciate that. But who do you know who you think might be interested in this? I know you got to watch XYZ tool. Like, who came to your mind? Who do you know that has talked to you about these things? Obviously, if it's your family, if it was my brother, it was very different. It was like, just give me who you know. I don't have time to waste. I require the names, and a lot of them are in my business, whether it's from me or his people that eventually came in. But yeah, everything I do is with urgency. So when I'm asking people for referrals, I let them know, like, this can change someone's life. How can you not share it, even if you don't want it? And that's kind of what I do.
Awesome. And you kind of touched on before about kind of building relationships, and I think this is one of the kind of gold keys here. How important is it that, when you kind of really meet somebody for the first time, and I think it's in those first few moments that you kind of really build that trust, you really build that kind of relationship with somebody. And I mean, that can take, it can take a month, it can take a year that you're building these relationships with people. But what is it that you initially say to kind of just make those connections, that trust is kind of happening between you and that person?
I always ask people questions because I want to get to know them. One, I feel like I'm interviewing them as much as they're maybe interviewing me to see if they're even someone I really want to partner with, right? Because all of our time is valuable, and I want to find people that I can really connect with. And then I always ask them questions. I compliment people. So if someone has like a great bracelet, I obviously will just acknowledge, like, that's an amazing bracelet. Where did you get it? It's just a conversation starter. And then I make it about them as much as possible, just getting to know them, asking them questions. People love to talk about themselves. So if you give them that opportunity to talk about themselves and you really genuinely listen to what I have to say, that's so huge. I was listening to something today and the speaker said, people don't care about you. They care about how you make them feel. And I think that's so true when it comes to what we're doing. Like, they don't really care about me. They care about the fact that I'm giving them this forum to just talk about themselves and tell me what they do for a living or why they go to this one specific class at the gym or what's going on with them. And that's really how I build the relationship, is just asking questions. And then I always say I bring everyone to Facebook, because it's just a great way to accelerate the friendship or the relationship.
Okay, so would you kind of bring in Isogenics then, or do you kind of create curiosity about what you do, or do you kind of just really build on those questions with them and then bring it to Facebook, then lead with it? How does that process work?
I'm more of a build a relationship and create the curiosity person than go up to someone and say, are you open to earning an additional stream of income? I'm not saying that's wrong. That's just not what works for me, because I know how I would react if someone came up to me that way out of the blue. So I really take my time to get to know people. I always bring it to Facebook and I ask them questions, so that way when they give me the opportunity, or I start to see the opportunity to mention something about what I'm doing or to bring it into conversation, I'll do it. But even when I bring it to Facebook, I don't just sit there and wait for them to ask me questions about what I do. I will eventually say to someone, depending on who it is, like, Steve, I love your energy. I don't know, you may have no idea what it is exactly I do, but are you open to learning a little bit more about it? Because it might be something that could be for you. And 99% of the time, people at least are willing to listen to what it is. And I'll be honest, people ignore me a lot too. And that's okay. It doesn't hurt my feelings. People still tell me no. But it's through all of those people that ignore you and tell you no that you get to the people who are excited and passionate and really want to do this.
Absolutely. And how would you then kind of bring in, I guess, do you lead with the product, or do you lead with the business, or do you encapsulate them both together, or is it really kind of asking the questions and finding out that person's kind of why and needs, that you kind of go from there?
Yeah, I think it's really always relative to the person. I mean, I think that everything we do is with the products, and Ross Thompson said it at New Year's kickoff. He said everyone is a product user. There's no such thing as business builder product user, because everyone is a product user. But I definitely ask people questions to see what it is they're looking for in their life. Are they looking for more money? Are they looking for more time? Are they looking for more energy? And we can never assume anything about anyone. I always think about the people who own my bar that I used to work at in Seaside Heights. They had a beautiful family, beautiful house, beautiful cars, all of those things that you would look at and think they don't need this business opportunity. They already have this booming business. And little did I know that financially they were struggling and they were looking for this business opportunity. And that, I mean, it changed their life so significantly. But I found that out through asking them questions, not just assuming that they have no interest in this because they own a very successful business. So it really is relative to the person.
Yeah, I love where you're going with this, actually, because how important is it, Ciji, not to kind of prejudge people? I mean, gosh, imagine you hadn't gone to them and they're financially struggling. Like, you know, gosh, would they be today if it hadn't have been for you? So it's so important, I believe, that we don't prejudge and think, oh, they're wealthy, they don't need it. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we talked about this actually this morning with Rod Herson at the down at the convention center, and it's about belief. So how important is it to have like absolutely belief and confident and posture with kind of what you have and kind of what we're sharing here with Isogenics?
I personally think it's the most important thing, because people are going to follow your posture. People don't buy Isogenics from me because I know every ingredient in the Ionic Supreme, because honestly I don't. I know the fast facts because I'm not that science-minded, but people are going to buy from someone whose posture is excited and passionate. And I always say I followed when I started, I followed Alexis Romano. And at the time, she was, I don't know how many times she was cycling, but it was maybe 1 or 2 times a week when I started, but I didn't know that. And I always said I didn't care where she was going. I was going to follow her because I knew she was going somewhere, because that was the posture that she had every time I spoke to her. That was the belief she had in this journey. So when I didn't have it for myself, I could pull it from her. But if someone sees that you're half in, half out, you know, building a business today, doing something else tomorrow, back in the next day, they don't want to follow that. They want to follow someone that's going to lead them to where it is they want to go. And it's not about knowing everything, because I truly just being honest, I don't know every single detail about the compensation plan. I don't know everything about the products. There's so much I don't know. But I'm really powerful in my posture about what this can do for someone and the opportunity that's available. And again, that comes across so much more than me rattling off ingredients and numbers that I don't even truly know all. So yeah, I mean, posture, in my opinion, is the most important thing. And the thing about it too, there is events and there's calls and there's trainings on how to build your belief and how to build your posture. But in my opinion, it really comes down to the person and their responsibility to recognize where their belief is at or where their posture is at. And it's their responsibility to really build it. And the thing about Isagenix, we have so many people creating amazing success, and there's amazing stories. And I think about when my brother started 2 years ago, or when my sister started 2 years ago, they had that belief. And they said, I know this is going to work because I've watched you do it. And I haven't just watched you. I've seen what you've been doing on social media. I've seen your friends doing it. In my opinion, that's all the proof you need, is that we see it working for all of these people. And if you go to startyourlife.com or ISAFY or anything there, that's all the proof that you require to have that 10 out of 10 in posture and belief and all those things. It's just up to that whoever the individual it is to really go to work on it, to really build it up. Because if you don't, people can see right through that. And I know I heard Lynn Hagedorn say in her CDs, no one wants to join your experiment. And it's so true. Nobody wants to hope and wish and try with you. They want to run with you if you're serious about running.
So let me take you back a minute, Ciji. I mean, gosh, you joined Isagenix in 2010. You were kind of still working in the bar, and you were purely a product user for those first 2 years, right, of your kind of journey with Isagenix. At what point was it that you had that kind of belief, that kind of posture that changed, that allowed you to go out and really connect with people on that level? Or did you always have it?
No, I didn't know. That's such a great question. I didn't always have it. And even when I was just a product user, I talked a lot about Isagenix just naturally because I genuinely loved it. Stayed on auto ship for 2 years. I ordered a ton of stuff when I wasn't building a business because I loved it. But when I got into the business and decided I wanted to get my products paid for, I actually vividly remember having a conversation with a girl that I worked with who was asking me questions, and I was so insecure in what I was doing and not really understanding it that I was laughing the entire time to get through the conversation. And my doubt and my insecurity really, I think, came through to so many people in the beginning. But I really built my posture and my belief through going to the events, getting on training calls, literally sucking up anything that I couldn't. Probably my biggest aha moment, there were so many, but Isagenix University, when I was in the business for about 4 months. And I'll just never forget sitting at this luncheon and watching people stand up and make their declarations about where they were going to be in their business in 6 months, in 12 months, in 18 months. And I'll never forget looking over at Alexis Romano and Tara Romano and saying, like, this is real. People can actually earn an income here. Like, I don't have to get a job after grad school. I can do this if I really want to. And they both looked at me and rolled their eyes, and they're like, yeah, well, duh, what do you think we're doing here? But I didn't get it until that very moment that I was like, this is going to be it for me. And I truly, in that moment, believed it was possible. I still had to go to work on my own self-belief because I believed in Isagenix, the products. I believed in the company. I believed in the profession. I believed it all worked. I didn't believe in myself. And that was probably the biggest lesson I had to learn in the growth period that I went through.
Yeah, so powerful. Events are the way for sure. Definitely, I love it. So let's go back to kind of connecting with people now and really kind of getting into some of the language that you might use. So let's use this for example. Say I am your yoga teacher. How would you kind of talk to me about it? How would you kind of bring those kind of, do you use certain scripts? Kind of what's the language that you use when you kind of connect with people?
So we always ask people a series of questions. So depending on what someone is looking for. So if you're my yoga teacher and we've been talking about the products, I would say, you know, what in the next 30, 60, 90 days, like if you could achieve at any level of health, what does that look like for you? And I'll let you answer me. And then I'll say, what would that do for you? What would getting your energy back do for you? And my favorite question to ask people is, how serious are you about and then rephrasing what they just told me, because that tells you so much about what someone's looking to achieve. And the questions are so relative. They can go product or business depending on what someone's looking for. How serious are you about achieving the $500 a month? I'm very comfortable asking it. If someone says, I want to replace my income, I say, what kind of income are you accustomed to achieving? I think it's important to be super comfortable asking people these questions, because we really want to get to the core of not just the numeric value that they want to earn or how much weight they want to lose, but why they want to do it. So just continually asking why. What's that going to do for you? What's it going to look like for you? And then we always use, if you've read GoPro, Eric Worre's closing questions, which are great because they just help you kind of reframe everything that people have given you, so that way you can help them get started in the most effective way possible. But everything is just asking questions, and what I've learned is really listening to the answer, not trying to go to the next question to beat them to it, but taking a vested interest in what people are telling me and not worrying so much about me looking good, or am I saying the right thing, or am I screwing this up, because there's no such thing. And you're going to care so much more about the fact that I care about you than if you can see that I'm more concerned with how I look during this process, because I'm so insignificant during it. It really becomes about the person you're talking to and helping them achieve that goal. And truly, I mean, knowing it's not about me has been the greatest lesson in this business.
Oh, I love that. I mean, you know, taking it off yourself and really finding out what their kind of hot button is and their reasons and why, you know, they might want to lose that weight. It could be feel like, you know, to get into the bridesmaid dress at their their sister's wedding, or you just don't know what their hot button is. So I love that, you know, being able to help people and do all that kind of stuff. That's where the magic really happens. And I'm sure this has been kind of something that you just do second nature right now. But were you always comfortable doing this, or was it just a process of practicing this with everybody that you met, just being comfortable asking questions? I mean, I know you said that you were a bit introverted when you first started.
Yeah, there was nothing comfortable about this for me in the beginning. And there are still times it's very uncomfortable. Like I even said before we got for this makes me uncomfortable. I don't usually announce myself on training calls because it's uncomfortable. But I realized that if I stay uncomfortable and I don't talk to people, it's where am I going? I'm not actually building a business. I just have a hobby, if that even. So it's really been a process of getting out of my comfort zone every day and just understanding that it's never that serious. Nothing I'm going to do or say is going to be that serious. I can't say anything so wrong that, like, no one's ever come back and said, I hate you, you're an awful person. They just don't notice. Nobody really knows what I'm supposed to say. So if I say the wrong thing, who's judging that? So, no, it's absolutely, it's been a process, and it's certainly still a process I'm going through because, like I said, I'm not the most outgoing person. I would rather sit by myself than go sit with a big group of people. But it's important for me to do, not just one for my business, but I think to show my team that, yeah, this is uncomfortable, but I still do it because I can't ask them to do what I'm not doing.
Of course, of course. I mean, I think the great thing about this, I mean, you can practice this anywhere, like in the elevator at a hotel, like, you know, with anybody that you meet. And really, it's not even about kind of talking about isogenics. It's just getting comfortable about kind of being interested in people and kind of finding out, you know, about their life and stuff like that. So I love that one. So Ciji, moving on from this, I mean, you have been the queen of kind of social media with your business. I know you've had huge success with it. So let's talk about kind of online at the moment. So how do you kind of, again, create curiosity online, kind of bring them offline from that and have those connecting kind of questions and points, and how does that all work?
So the thing about social media that I always say is, yeah, as much as I would like to think I'm the queen of it, because I would like to be the queen of anything, I truly am not. I'm so far from the best at it or a social media master or anything like that, in all honesty. I'm just really good at being consistent and following systems. And that, to me, is the difference between myself and someone else. Am I the best? Absolutely not. Is my content always the best? Probably not. Am I really consistent and committed to the process? Absolutely. And that's where I think most people fall short, is I look at what I do on social media as like a job. It's something that I do every single day. And that's been so huge for me. In the beginning, I did it completely wrong. I verbally vomited isogenics. I turned people off. I had people like blocking me, probably deleting me. I spammed people's inboxes, like you name it, I did it. But I can say at least I took action, because that's the other thing I think people do is they sit behind it and they wait for people to come to them, and they think that's enough. And even when I was screwing up in probably the craziest ways, at least I always said I was taking action and I was learning to get better. So the system that we really use to create curiosity is the one Alexis Romano and I trained on it at New Year's Kickoff. I guess it was 2015. And it's called the 10-4-1 system. And there's a million different systems that people use. I think there's a million great ones. It's just finding one that you can be really consistent with. This is the one that we use, and this is the one that we really teach our team to use, because it really helps you plan ahead of time what your page is going to look like. So you're not overwhelming people with Isagenix, 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 and you're also branding yourself so people know that you're that go-to person when it comes to one of the solutions that we offer. So, I mean, quickly in a nutshell, what the 10-4-1 looks like is if you're posting over the course of a week, say 2 times a day, that's an average of, or 15 times, excuse me, a week, that's an average of 2 times a day. So basically 10 of your posts, 10 out of the 15, not at all related to Isagenix. It's just being yourself, because people buy from who they know, like, and trust. And in my opinion, the 10 posts are the most important that we use, because they're the ones that people get to know you. They get to see your personality. They get to see your family. They get to laugh with you or be inspired by you or trust you, and they really draw people in. The 4 out of the 10-4-1 are somewhat related. So that's a great before and after picture. It's a great text message. So important to always be compliant and to always really know what you're posting. But those are the ones that create curiosity. It's not about throwing Isagenix down people's throat and posting a picture of your big brown box that people obviously know it's Isagenix so they can go Google it. It's just about celebrating. I'm so excited for my friend Steve. He was, you know, a little bit skeptical at first, and he's done amazing. I couldn't be prouder of him. That's it. That's what the post looks like. Maybe I'll share a little bit of your story, whatever the case may be. But so people have to come to me and say, what is this program that you're posting about? And I can even say at this point, like 4 years into building my business, I still get messages from people that say, what is this program that you work with? And in my head, I'm like, really? Like, you still don't know? But people don't, and you want them to have to come to you. If they can go Google it, they can find literally everything and anything through Google. I think we all probably know that. And then the 1 post out of the 10-4-1, that's like the business celebration post. I always say it's not about inbox me now, ask me how. It's really about celebrating people and their accomplishments. And again, social media is not about me. It's not about you. It's about the people that you can reach. And if all I did was celebrate myself, nobody really cares, because people don't want to be a part of that culture. People want to see a vast majority of stories, because they're looking for someone they can relate to. And maybe a mom of 3 kids who's working 2 jobs doesn't really care that I'm doing Isagenix full time, I have no kids, and I can travel whenever I want. That doesn't excite them. But if I share the story of someone that I'm working with who looks like them and feels like them, that draws them in. Then they want to know more. And again, especially in something like network marketing, it's, you know, nobody gets to the top alone. And if you do, that's not really that attractive to anyone that would want to join you. They want to see that it works for a lot of people, that there's a lot of different people creating a lot of different success, and that success is so relative to what they're looking for. So that's the nutshell of how I use social media. Like I said, I really do treat it like a job. So I have a post going out always at the peak times. I'm always checking the content that it's getting, and I'm really, really consistent. And that, I think, is the difference between what most people do with it.
I love that you share so many different demographics so people can see that this is like they can connect to all different kind of walks of life, and there's a whole team of people there having great results. So you talked about being consistent there, Ciji. So why is it so important to actually be consistent every week and, you know, to show up all the time?
Because, and it's like we talked about before, the posture, and people want to know that it's real. I think, you know, especially now, we see a lot of people posting a lot of things. And if I was coming to Isagenix right now because I really wanted to find a vehicle that's going to help me live the life of my dreams, I want to know that the person that I'm going to really has that strong posture and that strong belief, and they're someone that's going to mentor me to go exactly where I'm going. And if someone is here today, gone tomorrow, doing something else the next day, back in Isogenics after that, I don't feel like they're going to lead me to the land of promise. It just doesn't feel like that's where we're going. And the same thing goes for, like, I don't care what kind of day I have. I will never post anything negative, anything confrontational, anything political, anything like that where I'm going to turn off a big segment of the population. And it's so important because you see someone has a bad day and they stub their toe and they want to complain on Facebook, and then they want to post that like positive post a couple hours later, and it sends such a mixed message to people. So it's not just important to be consistent in when you're posting, but really consistent in what you're posting, and that what you're posting is real and authentic to you. Because in the beginning, I didn't understand what I was doing, and I tried to be someone that I wasn't, and people saw right through that. I lost myself in it. I lost my sense of humor. I just became this cookie cutter version of what I thought I had to be to build an Isogenics business. And when I started to release that and really, like I said, understand what those 10 posts were about and have fun with it, that's when I really started drawing people into what I was doing, because they could see who I was, and it was very authentic. And again, it was consistent. That's why 2 years later, 3 years later, 4 years later, people reach out and they say, now I'm ready. They wouldn't have been ready if I took a break for a couple of days or a couple of years. They're ready because they've followed it. They've seen the progression. They've seen the journey. They know it's not always butterflies and rainbows. And I think that's what's powerful, is that if people can share in your journey and really watch it over a consistent basis, that excites them to want to be a part of the journey and the culture that you start to create with it.
Yeah, gosh, so true. I mean, gosh, people can be watching you for, gosh, 2 years, 3 years before they kind of say, you know, she's onto something here, and they're ready to kind of connect with you. So yeah, consistent and being authentic, everybody. I love that. So once we've kind of connected with somebody kind of via Facebook, or you've met them kind of out and about somewhere, what are some of the tools and systems that you use to, do you kind of send them to iSomovies, or do you send them something out? What's that process look like afterwards?
Absolutely, yes. I always use the tool, because again, I can never explain anything ever as effectively as the tools can. And the thing is, even if I always say, like, it doesn't matter if I'm a master closer, that's not duplicatable. The tools are what's duplicatable. Asking questions is duplicatable, but just being amazing at something, I can't teach someone. And I quite honestly, like, I'm not amazing at it. I'm just consistent and duplicatable. So I always use iSomovie. I love Are You Toxic? I love the new Start video. Why Isogenics? The other tool that I absolutely love are the podcasts on startyourlife.com. Yes. Because, yeah, like, they're so powerful, and there's always one that's going to resonate with someone that I'm talking to. So the important thing I think about it is, whether it's iSomovie or those podcasts or ISA FYI or Isogenics podcast, it's being in integrity and making sure I've listened to them all, because I can never send something to someone that I haven't listened to. So even when I send people the videos now, I'll usually watch them again as they're watching them, because I want to make sure that when they bring something up, it's fresh in my mind. So I absolutely, truly, I love the Start Your Life podcast. They're probably one of the more underutilized tools, which blows my mind, because you really have this 15, 20-minute call that can hit the person right where their pain is, because it's someone that's doing the same thing or living a mirrored life. So whether it's a bartender or a teacher or a trainer or a hairstylist, there's someone with that story, and that's so powerful, because obviously if one person can do it, someone else can too.
Yeah. So any of our new Isogenics peeps on the line tonight, if you've not checked out the Start Your Life website and checked out those podcasts, oh my gosh, they're absolutely mind-blowing, as Ciji said. So go and check them out today, or when you've got some time. They're absolutely so cool. So one question I actually missed before, Ciji, was when you're connecting with somebody and they actually say, so Ciji, what is it that you do? What's your response to that?
My response is, it will differ a little bit by the people that I talk to, and I've heard some people say some really cool things that I am not cool enough to use. I always, like, they just don't sound right coming out of my mouth. I always say I'm a professional network marketer. I work with a health and wellness company. What do you do? And I always bring it back to them. So I love that one, because I'm very proud of what we do in network marketing. I love the company that I work with, and at the end of the day, it's kind of irrelevant what I'm doing, because I want to know what they're doing. The more I can get to know them, the more they'll open up to me about what they're looking for in their life. So it's not a question I place a lot of emphasis on, and I did in the beginning, and I would hear all these things about like bank accounts and these amazing things that people said that I tried to say and just never sounded authentic coming from me, because I'm pretty straight to the point, I think, for the most part with everything I do.
I love it, love it, love it. So you talked about consistency before. How important is it? I mean, you've had huge success with this Isogenics journey. How important is it to be consistent, and how often would you say that you're connecting with people with intent every week? You know, so like when you start your day, when you start your week, do you set an intent that you're going to connect with a certain amount of people each week?
So I was never someone that put a number in the box, and I can tell you why. Because when I started Isogenics, I was working full-time behind the bar, and I was a full-time grad student. And when I really saw the vision of what this could be, I could say, well, I'm going to reach out to 3 people today, but that just didn't feel like enough, because I had such a burning desire to make this work that it was just every free moment I had. Does everybody have to be that way? Not necessarily. It really, obviously, everybody has different obligations. But in my opinion, if your desire is big enough, there's not a number that can equate to that, because it became a natural extension of what I do. I was always talking to people. I was a waitress and a bartender. And that's one of the things I didn't say earlier, but like, people to talk to the people you work with, because they probably feel how you feel a lot of the time. And for me, one of my greatest lead sources truly was the bar and restaurant that I worked at. They're all on Isogenics because I saw them every day. So I had that opportunity, but really, like, it was never about a number for me. And I always, if someone requires a number, 3 people a day is good, 5 people is better, 10 people is the best. But I think when you really get in tune with why you're doing this and the vision that you see for yourself, I would never, after 3 people, just be like, okay, well, I covered my 3 people for the day and I'm done now. Yeah, like, it was a constant hustle. And I think that that's something I look for with people that I work with all the time. Do they have that natural hustle, that they want more, that they see more, that there's not like a deadline? So once you hit your 3 people, you can stop and watch TV. Or do you really see the vision of what this can be and you just want to keep going? So that's always my take on it. If someone wants a number 3, 5, 10, the bigger the better, obviously. But I just think hustle, because you can rip the Band-Aid off slow or fast, and it's a lot more fun if you pull it off fast.
So let me ask you this then. What does Ciji's average day look like? I mean, when you wake up in the morning and you kind of set your plan for the day, if you do that, what does your day kind of look like with kind of offline and online kind of activities?
So I always have my day, and I don't have business hours right now. I did more so when I had a couple jobs and school. Now I know what my day is going to look like always the day before. So I always wake up. I'm not an alarm clock person. I wake up very early on my own. So I'm up by 7. Typically, I go and I work out. I take care of some personal things. And then throughout the day, I'm doing my 3-way calls. I'm always prospecting. It's not that I say I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to prospect. I'm naturally doing it now because it's become a natural extension of everything I do. I'm working with my team. I'm putting things together. We're doing events, things like that, training calls. So I know what my day looks like the night before, but it always varies just depending on what's going on. That's why I think the longer you do this, the more natural it becomes that you're naturally prospecting, you're naturally talking to people, you're naturally building relationships and connecting with people. And then I mean, I'm always enrolling because, again, you can't ask people to do something that you're not doing. So if we always say, like, the 4 things that pay you are prospecting, creating leads, enrolling, recruiting, and team building. So as your team grows and your organization grows, more time, I think, goes into the team building, but you never stop prospecting. You never stop creating leads. You never stop enrolling and recruiting.
Yeah. And something you just touched on there was 3-way calls, and it's just kind of just popped into my mind. So do you find them powerful? I'm sure you use them a lot. Is kind of once you've connected with somebody to hook them into a 3-way call?
Absolutely, yeah, because I know I can't connect with everybody with my story. I can connect with probably a certain segment. So if I have an amazing fitness instructor that I'm talking to, obviously I'm going to get them on the phone with Tara Romano, who's an amazing fitness instructor and an Isogenics millionaire. So I always am looking for people that I can connect people to. We do a lot of inboxing too. So if I have, someone young who's looking at Isogenics, I might get them on an inbox with a couple people on my team who are young and excited, and just say, can you just share a couple words with them about what your experiences look like, just so they can start to feel that culture. But I think the three-way call and the edification is so important, especially when you're new, because your friends and your family don't see you on the authority as probably anything remotely Isogenics related. So if you're brand new and you're trying to explain something to someone that you don't even really know anything about, it doesn't really work. And again, it's about duplication. So getting someone else on the phone is very duplicatable. Trying to be the master and knowing everything is not. And I think it's such a testament to the culture that we have, that we can always find somebody that has a story or a past or a job or something that's going to resonate with someone. So three-way calls and they're fun. They're fun to get to connect with the new people that you're working with. Because I like to stay connected with more than just the people that I enrolled and really dig deep into the organization.
Yeah, I love it. So for any of our kind of new starters on the line tonight, what are some of the languages that you use, Ciji, when you kind of say, you've just enrolled me, for example, and you're going to hook me up into a three-way call? How do you say that to me? How do you say, Steve, I'm going to put you on a call with a complete stranger? How do you kind of position that with me as the...
Yeah, I love that question in such a not creepy way is exactly how I would do it. I'm so casual, and even though I take this business so seriously, I'm very casual in the way I have that conversation with people, because you don't want to freak them out. And I actually remember the very first three-way call I ever did with Alexis was someone that was interested in the products. I almost threw up on myself. I actually had to go for a walk. I had to get out of the house. I was panicking. I was sweating. So I remember how terrified I was, and I was the one setting the three-way call. So I'm super casual with it, and I just say, let me get you on the phone with my friend. She would be great for you to talk to, Steve, because she has a similar background that you do. I would love for you to hear her perspective. But yeah, I heard Peter Kelly say, just don't be weird. Don't be weird about it. Just be normal and say, like, this person is going to be a great resource for you. And that's it. And 99% of the time, they're very excited to get to talk to this other person that's going to give them a little more insight. And again, that's duplicatable. It's not having to know everything.
Love it, love it, love it. So as we come to kind of the end of the call here, I'd love to ask you the question that you kind of know now that you would love to have known when you first started network marketing. What would that have been?
Oh my goodness. It would have been to understand truly that this is a journey. It doesn't have a destination. And that, in all honesty, there's going to be wall-kicking moments. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be struggles. You're going to probably cry. I know I did. You're going to go through. It's such a powerful process, and the only way to fail in it is truly to quit. But just understand that it really is a journey. It's not just supposed to be a straight shoot to the top, because if it is, how can I ever work with the people who are struggling in my organization? I think the challenges and the wall-kicking moments and all those things are so important for all of us to go through, because that's how we can connect with our team as they're going through, to say, I get it, I've been there. I was that person sitting in the back with my arms crossed. I shed a tear this day. This is what happened. And to really help them see that it's okay. It's a process, and it's a journey, and it's normal. And if you really just stay the course and be honest with yourself about if you're doing what's required or if you're just doing what you consider is enough, it's the most beautiful life that you can create for yourself. But just, I mean, really knowing it's a journey and there's no destination. And even now, like, I'm still going through it. Still wall-kicking moments, still challenges, still struggles, all those good things.
Yeah, and one thing I love about you, Ciji, you're so authentic, and you're just so kind of open, just saying, like, you're still on this process, you're still learning all the time. So for anybody kind of new tonight who's just kind of maybe just learning about connecting, just practicing, what would you say to them? What would you just, advise them to keep going on this journey? Or
yeah, and just understand it's normal. Like, I think sometimes when we start and we're so nervous and we're so uncomfortable and we think, like, I can never do this. that's normal. Like, that's how most people feel in the beginning. They have that level of discomfort. They have that fear. They have that wonderment and that doubt of, like, is this real? Does this work? And I think the more people know that it's normal and it's a journey, and you're not supposed to be a professional network marketer the day you step into this. The same way, like, I have all these college degrees that I had to go 2 years, 4 years, whatever the case was, to earn. This is no different. It's a process that you have to go through. And the more you stop looking around at what everybody else is doing and understand that your journey is your own, because you don't know who that person you're comparing yourself to, you don't know what their background looks like, you don't know what their experience looks like. And I always think back to when I played softball growing up, and when you run to first base, the coach always said to you, like, put your head down and run. Don't look at the ball, because that's when you get hit. That's when you lose your focus. That's when chaos breaks loose. And I always, like, speak to my new people and say, like, put your head down and run. Stop looking around at what's going on, because that's not going to affect you. But if you start to pay attention to it, you're going to lose your footing, and that's when you're going to fall. So I just think, like, don't look around, stop comparing, because it's serving absolutely nobody. And just know that whatever you're feeling is totally normal.
Yeah, love it, love it, love it. I mean, gosh, so many gold nuggets shared tonight, and a huge thank you to you, Ciji, for kind of taking the time out to kind of talk with us and kind of give us all your kind of connecting kind of pieces of gold there. So just to wrap up tonight's kind of call, I always ask this: what's your kind of ultimate kind of favorite book that you've kind of read? That, you know, I mean, there's so many great ones out there.
There are. I think the one that had the biggest impact on me is called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Really, it opened my mind to not only, like, me and why I do what I do, but the people I'm working with and why they do what they do. And it's actually, I give it to people for a birthday gift all the time, and it's usually they're a little offended when they see the title is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. But when you open that book up, everyone that's read it is like, oh my goodness, this feels like it was directed directly to me. It's so powerful. So that's one that I recommend everybody get.
Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, is it?
Yes.
Oh, I love it. I have to go and get it. I haven't seen that one. And what's your favorite product at the moment? I mean, gosh, I've been getting into this bad boy, this pina colada shake, which is pretty awesome. I know it's been flying off the warehouse shelves at the moment.
Well, I'm very jealous because, well, actually, I think mine is probably sitting downstairs at my package collection, but I'm cleansing. So right now, my favorite Isogenics product is the Isodelight, because those babies get me through the cleanse day.
Cool stuff, cool stuff. Well, listen, Ciji, enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you for jumping on again. I mean, there you are, cleansing, still powering on. So it's been a pleasure to kind of have you on board. And thank you, everybody, for kind of tuning in tonight. And Aussies, I will see you next week. I'll be back in town. So once again, Ciji, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So fun.